Hi Mark, it's Guys here. So believe it or not, my younger self actually just reacted to one of my videos where I explained exactly how much money I spend as a millionaire. Of course, I'm talking about the finance legend that is Graham Stephan. And I have to admit the similarities between us are just crazy. We both love talking about personal finance, side hustles, and smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm. I'm actually subscribed to Graham and I watch his videos often. However, today I want to address some of the comments he made as well as giving my thoughts about them. So let's react to Graham reacting to me. I think we just entered the infinite monetization loop. Hi guys, it's Mark. So I thought it was about time.
He should really intro this with, "What's up you guys?" No, hold on. "What's up you guys? It's Mark here." I can't do the accent. It's so bad.
Before I can do that, we need to make a few changes. Right, all set. What's up you guys, it's Mark here. When I was younger, I'd always look up to the rich people in my neighborhood.
Yeah, see, but just watch, those people you look up to are just completely broke, they're drowning in debt, they drive their Ferrari into the garage, and then they get inside and like, oh crap, how am I gonna pay for this?
Actually, when I was younger, the whole buying on credit mentality didn't seem to be as widespread. For example, nowadays, when you go to a car dealership, they ask you how much you can afford per month rather than just selling a car you can buy there and then. The whole system is geared towards getting you trapped paying for depreciating assets. When we add Instagram and other social medias on top of this, it just makes the need to impress others and keep it up with your friends a lot worse. It seems like it really doesn't matter what you actually own, it's all just about what you can afford to show off on social media and how many likes you can get. Of course, I have to mention using a credit card isn't a bad thing. It can actually be a great thing for building your credit score. However, that's assuming you pay it off in full at the end of each and every month, so you don't pay any interest. Because the US dollar is the reserve currency of the world, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to be using that in this video.
See, look at that. He's doing us a huge favor here because normally I have to go and convert pounds into the US dollar and then give an estimation. The fact that he's doing this for us, that's why he's a millionaire.
I'm so glad he brought that up because check out these comments. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put on my best Graham impression for this.
Really annoys me how an Englishman is saying dollars, gas and other Americanisms. It's our language, speak it properly. You're not American, Mark.
Why does this fella speak about American currency? Ain't you a Brit?
Why don't you quote pounds? It's annoying that you're pandering to the Americans.
Well, I think it's finally time I address this. A reserve currency is a globally recognised national currency commonly used in international trade and global finance. The British pound was once the world's reserve currency, but times have changed and now it's the US dollar that holds that title. My mission has always been to help as many people as possible become wealthy by thinking like an investor and an entrepreneur. So it just makes sense to use the US dollar as more of the world is familiar with it. If I use pounds, then that only covers the UK and everyone else would have to convert. So I hope this makes sense and it helps more people than it annoys. I'm currently remodeling my house with a $600,000 budget, which I'm using to build out the new North Wing.
North Wing. See, your house is big when you got a wing. Look at this, we gotta zoom in. What car is that? That looks like a Tesla. Looks like a wrapped Tesla in the front.
Wow, I'm actually surprised he managed to spot my Tesla from that sort of distance. Getting it wrapped was part of a series I'm posting on YouTube to earn the cost of the Tesla back by doing lots of different side hustles. In the last episode, we got it sponsored, wrapped it like a race car, and then raced it against a professional racing driver. If we manage to complete this challenge within the year, I'll be giving away $5,000 to one of you guys. On Monday, I had to spend $5,000 on Google shopping ads.
Yeah, but see, he'll spend $5,000, he'll make like $8,000 back. So he's doing well. I wouldn't even count that as an expense. I would just look at the net for that.
Yeah, he's right here. When I'm spending money, I always think about the ROI, or in other words, return on investment. This is the idea that you put $1 in and you get $5 out, for example. This is a great way to think, and not just for business. It's all about looking at the value of the things you're buying. But it doesn't have to be all about monetary gain. A good return can also come in the form of relaxation, building connections and enjoying yourself. I learnt this when I worked too hard in my early 20s and was told by the doctor that I needed to take a break, otherwise I'd run myself into the ground. I then decided to book myself a ski trip and it was one of the best returns on investment that I have ever had. as it allowed me to return to my businesses with a new perspective and focus. My shops sell model planes, helicopters, cars and trains.
Wow, that's neat. This is the type of store that I would have loved as a kid. If I were like 7 to 10 years old going into that store, I would want everything.
Well, you're welcome to come along to one of the shops, Graham, and I'll tell you what, I'll even do you a special deal just for you. I'll take off the spending limit so you can go crazy and buy whatever you want.
Oh, geez. See, it's crazy when you add it up like that. But okay, the renovation, I'd say that's the same thing as him saying he made an investment that day.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Investing in my house is adding long-term value, not only in the resale price, but also improves my lifestyle. Most of my real estate investments are actually commercial rather than residential. This is because cash flow is really important to me. You might be able to get around $20,000 renting out a single family home, but you can spend the same amount on a bit of commercial real estate, like an office block, for example, and you can get close to $40,000 per year. So like I say in the video, I usually have some kind of real estate expense every week. Plus we're building out our guest quarters, so you're more than welcome to come and stay in the North Wing when you come over, Graham. Now Marmite is loved or hated in the UK, and I think it takes my crumpets to the next level. And yes, I know it's so very British.
I've actually never tried that before. It looks like a jam.
Well, Graham, it's not exactly a jam. It's got a bit more of a tang to it than that. But I don't want to ruin the surprise. I'll tell you what, let me know where you want me to send it, and you can do a taste testing vlog on the Steph family. On my way to the office, I picked up a $7 iced coffee frappuccino special from Starbucks.
Whoa, look at that. He's splurging. Jeez, you know what's crazy? I spent an entire week eating Starbucks the other week. I got headaches. It was so bad. I just lost all desire. It makes me sick to think about eating anything Starbucks now. It's wild how it works like that.
Only joking, Graham. I actually just...
Oh! He got me. This guy's on another level.
I was hoping Graham would fall for that one, as if I'd buy a fancy Starbucks when I can have this 20 cents iced coffee. What a lot of people don't realise is, although this might seem tight, it is actually the reason why most people don't end up retiring with over $1 million. If you were to invest $5 every single day starting at 20 years old into an S&P 500 index fund, which has historically returned an average of 10% per year, then by the time you're 65, you will have $1,522,000. I think that's amazing, all from skipping a Starbucks and opting for a 20 cents iced coffee, or even better, a 7 cents tea. I feel like I'm starting a war. After having a meeting with the team that manages my websites, I decided to pay them well ahead of schedule. Now this cost me $9,722. By paying straight away, it means that next time I need a job completed in a short amount of time, they'll be more inclined to get it done.
Wow, see, that's smart. But you have to really make sure you get the right people on board, because if you pay the wrong people too much money up front, they're gonna sit back, they're gonna take their time. I've dealt with that with contractors sometimes. You pay them a little bit too much money up front and they just never get the job done.
Yes, I do agree with you, Graham. This strategy only works when you've got the right people in place that you can trust to do a good job. A great way I found to avoid getting into the problem of hiring people that don't get the job done on time is never to go for the cheapest service. I made this mistake a few too many times in my business that now I recognise that if I buy too cheap, then it could end up costing me more money in the long term. It is a balance, of course, but prioritising quality and good reviews has probably saved me thousands. Me and my wife were going for fish and chips by the beach. We shared a large cod and chips which cost us $10.
See, now look at his car in the background. That is perfect product placement for public.com.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that, Graham, as you can get your free stock worth up to $100 if you're in the USA, and Free Trade are giving away a free stock worth up to £200 if you're in the UK. I'll leave the links below. We even take our own ketchup, as they charge so much for those little portions. It's crazy, and there's no way I'm ever going to pay for those.
Wait, what? How does he just walk around all day carrying a huge, a gallon of ketchup? Where does he put that? And does no one question that throughout the day when he takes out a gallon of ketchup from a trench coat? He's like,
Oh, well, I'm not going to pay for a little packet. I got my gallon here.
I've always got it, Graham. Doesn't everyone? Not to mention mustard, pepper, salt, and of course, vinegar. But seriously, I try and invest close to 90% of what I make. So if I can squeeze that little bit of extra cash by just bringing some extra sauces along, then I just can't resist it. I've also found that usually the extras like drinks, sauces and desserts are where you get the least value for your money. So if you can substitute these, then you're much better off. But of course, on special occasions like an anniversary, I'm more than happy to take my wife out for a lovely 5-star dinner. Golf here is $945 a year, so that works out to $18.17 a week.
That's not bad at all for golf.
Yep, I certainly enjoy my golf, but it's a lot more than just a hobby, as it's a great way to connect with people and do business. I once got invited to play golf in China at a place called Mission Hills, which is a very, very famous golf course. This led to me striking an exclusive business deal around the 15th hole. I honestly think one of the best things that the younger generation can do is get out onto the golf course. As the old saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and golf gives you the perfect opportunity to speak to successful people that you wouldn't normally interact with. In the afternoon, I went for tea and scones with my son Curtis. Curtis also took the time to discuss business with me. The afternoon tea came to around $69.45.
Yeah, see, look at that. He talked business, so then he could write off the meal. That's smart. You always want to talk a little bit of business.
This is very true, and I think we should put this example on the board. I've seen this done on Instagram. Let's imagine as an employee you got paid $100. You get taxed immediately by 20%, which brings you down to $80. Your expenses are $69, then leaving you with only $11. Now let's look how a business is different. You've got the same $100, you spend your expenses before you're taxed, you have $31 left, which you're taxed on at 20%. That leaves you with $24.80. You can see why being a business is much more beneficial. It's all about when you're taxed, and you can write things off with a side hustle. My houses and cars are all paid off.
Wow, see, there we go. I was curious about his housing payment. I wonder what property tax is, though, but either way, incredible.
Yeah, I missed out some of that info. It was a bit of an oversight, so here we go. My gas and electric comes out at $116.70 per week, and my water totals $25.64 per week. There is no property tax in the UK, but we do have to pay council tax, which goes towards local services, for instance, rubbish collection, libraries and schools. Due to the size of my house, I have to pay a considerable amount, which comes out at $111.93 per week.
All right, listen, I gotta say, I like it. He does everything right, and there's nothing not to like with this video. I'm trying to think of any criticisms I have, and I don't have any. Seriously, I don't have any criticisms whatsoever, which is one of the few times ever in a video I don't have anything negative to say.
Thanks, Graham. I've always tried as hard as possible to keep my lifestyle under control. I really agree with the quote, people buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like with money they don't even have.
We're gonna go to the comments and see if maybe the comments have anything negative to say.
This is a fun idea. Let's check out some of the comments on his video. The most anticipated crossover of all time. To me, the best crossover has to be Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian, but this one's not bad either. Only joking, Graham. I just died. This man is lethal. Yeah, to be fair, we did put that in just in case Graham reacted, and it did get him. 7 cents tea versus 20 cents iced coffee. The ultimate showdown. Well, I've tried both, but I'd have to go with afternoon tea. Don't you know? I've never seen Graham smile so much during a reaction video. Could this be the start of a beautiful bromance?
All the comments are just as nice as Mark is. So how about this, Mark? If you're ever going to be in Las Vegas, if you want to come down and come and meet us on the Iced Coffee Hour, let us know. We would love to talk to you. I think you would be a great person to have on.
Podcast invitation accepted. I've just got to figure out how I can fit the cost of the flight into my weekly budget. Oh, wait. It's a tax write-off. Ha ha! I'll bring some crumpets with me and Marmite too. So with that said, you guys, I'm going to leave the next video right up there, but don't click on it just yet. Make sure to subscribe if you want to grow your wealth, and don't forget to pick up those free stocks. Okay, I'll see you over there.